Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to continue our double page spread in Miene Reise, durch Europa by Rita Berman. And as I mentioned in my completed works video for March, I've planned out the rest of this double page spread. So what I'm going to do is complete this this page because it's almost completely done, and then I'll come here and we'll carry on working on this page. And what I'm going to do is work on the background. Now I won't do the entire background on camera. What I'm going to do is I'll take a section, I'll show you how I'm planning on doing it, and then I will come back and carry on with the rest of it. It's just going to take far too long to sit and actually color the background of this double page spread. That in itself is probably going to take me a few, possibly an hour. So I will, for this video, I will do the background last, but I will complete these sort of little things here. I'll move over here, do a few things, and I'll make sure to end with the background. And then in the next video, both pages will have the background complete, and we'll work on finishing this right side of the double page spread. Again, I'm using Prismacolors, and what I found is I've just gone and gotten myself one of the jars. We keep these honey jars, and I use them to store my stock in the freezer. So when I make my chicken stock, I strain it and then I decant it into these jars, freeze it, and when I'm cooking, I just pull out a jar per meal, and I just put it on 2 or 3 minutes in the microwave. It defrosts it, and I stick it in my food. But I found that they're also quite a nice size to use as a pencil holder, and it's actually working really well to have all the pencils I'm using for the project I'm working on hand nearby, and I don't have to worry about them getting bumped or dropped. And I mean, it's cheap. It doesn't really cost me any extra expense, so yeah, I'm happy with that. You know, a little DIY hack there for you if you're interested. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna put my page here, I'm gonna zoom you in, and we'll work on the caravan and the car. Now, I had seen someone's double page spread, this exact page, on Instagram, and they had added a bit of shadow by the car and a few green bushes. So I'm going to try and replicate something like that, because I thought it actually looks really cool. Alright, so we're going to do a white car, and for that we're going to need PC 938, PC 1059, and PC 1063. So we're going to start with PC 1063. And so I want to create this part of the caravan white. I hope you all had a good week. It is a lovely Saturday morning, and the weather has been rather odd lately. I mean, we had a light dusting of snow yesterday, and I always love when the snow falls because I grew up in the tropics. I didn't grow up with snow, so even just a few minutes of it is really special for me. And so yeah, it's been a bit chilly, and we've been going about and all of that. And today it's just really bright and sunny. It's cold, but it's still lovely. Okay, now I'm just going to oh, excuse me. All right, I need a bit of PC 1058, and it's just at the very top of these shadows. So for those of you who live in the UK and also enjoy Prismacolors and want to know where you can get Prismacolors, the individual pencils. So there is a site called Colored Pencil UK. I think I'll link it up for you. Actually, I'll put it in the description below. I'm not a reseller or an affiliate. I just thought you might like to know. And you can go onto the Colored Pencil shop, and you can buy Prismacolors, Polychromos, Tombow, Erogetin, Van Gogh pencils, Caran d'Ache, excuse me, Caran d'Ache pencils, the Pablos. There's Derwent pencils, Derwent Graphitint, Derwent Drawing, Derwent Color Soft. There's a whole lot. So if you are wanting to try new pencils without spending a fortune, you can buy the individual pencils from there. And if you use the just standard postage, I'm using PC 1059. If you use the standard postage, it's not more than about £3 rounded up. So I don't find the postage is terribly bad. I think it's quite affordable. And she bubble wraps the pencils as well. I need to buy a few more pencils like this pencil. I don't have a second one, so I need to get my 90% grays, my I think it's my Sandbar Brown. I've got a few pencils that are getting to the end of their life, so I'm going to be using them for a second time. But I didn't encounter any breakage problems or quality issues. I found that it was well packaged, well delivered. So if that is something you are interested in and you live in the UK, that is an option for you. Now I'm going to use PC 938 whites. I also know Hobbycraft, which is the UK version of, I suppose, like a Hobby Lobby. They also sell the Polychromos pencils individually. So that's also helpful to know, because I find I don't always want to buy big sets of pencils to replace the pencils I'm using, and by being able to access the individual pencils, at least that way you can spend money on pencils you know you're actually going to use, and I think that is in some ways more helpful. So I'm going to mix my blue and my gray because I want to have a bluey gray here on the door of the Caravan. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm just very lightly going to put down a gray. Then I'm going to use the blue slate PC 1024, and I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to layer this up because I don't want a bright blue. I want this blue quite muted. And that's the thing with pencils and even your watercolors. You can mix your colors to create that the colors that you want, so a muted effect or maybe a different shade you don't have, and if you mix your colors, you also are able to get the color that you are after. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of denim blue, PC 1101, because I want this to be a bit deeper. And this is where your light layers come into play. As you do your light layers, you are able to blend and build up the specific color that you are after. And you can use the same idea if you have a reference photo and you want to use a specific color in or from the reference photo. What you need to practice doing is looking at your photo and seeing what are the recognizable colors in there. And from there you can take a scrap piece of paper, pull out the pencils you think, and then do a swatch and layer up those pencils on your swatch paper to work out what combination of pencils is going to give you the specific color you are after. PC 1059. Just to lighten that up. PC 1024. And this is also where your color wheel comes in handy. I remember when I was doing art lessons, one of the first things I was asked to do was take a printout of a color wheel, and then using paint, I was to color or paint in my primary colors, then the secondary colors. So for example, I'm just going to zoom you out for the purpose of this. So with your color wheel, you have your primary colors are yellow, it will be blue and red. Now your secondary colors come when you mix yellow and red together. So the more yellow with red, you get the yellow oranges. The more red with your yellow, you get the more red oranges. And then if you mix yellow and red equally, you get orange. And then the same applies with your blue. Yellow and blue mixed equally gives you green. Blue and yellow with more blue gives you bluey greens. Blue and yellow with more yellow than blue gives you yellow greens. And then you have the same here with your pinks and your violets. Blue and red give you purple, or blue and red with more red than blue gives you the reddish or the pinkier shades of purple. But if you have more blue than red, you get the blue violets. So that's your secondary colors. Now, what I was taught when I was doing these art lessons, after I'd done my primary and my secondary colors, she had me do my tertiary colors. And that was mixing the opposite colors. And that's how you would, in painting, get your silver tones, your bronzes, or these slightly off muted colors. So if you mix purple and yellow, you get a muddy color. And it works differently with painting in some ways than with pencil, because sometimes in the painting, when you mix purple and yellow, you can get a color that you are actually looking for. But with colored pencil, and what I've learned so far, and by no means do I have it all worked out, is that if you mix your opposite colors too much, you get a muddy brown, and that doesn't look nice. So when you're mixing purple and yellow together, you need to be careful when you layer them. So you can maybe have like a purple blending into a yellow, but in that blend you need to be very careful you don't create mud. It's the same as if you go from your reds to your greens and you mix them together, you're gonna get a darker color. It can be muddy. So what I've learned is if I want to create shadows with greens, I will use a violet or a red. Sometimes I'll use a red, but I found it doesn't actually work. So I normally do violets, grays. You can use yellows. I have been learning a bit about using yellows and oranges. So just if you're mixing your colors across each other, that's where you're going to get the muddy yuck colors. I have still to learn how it works for your tertiary colors. So maybe if you're interested in that, I can do a bit more research, or you can go and listen to more of the professional artists out there and the art teachers who are a bit more informed on this than I am. The other thing, when you are planning your colors, when you hear the word analogous, it's referring to the colors next to each other. So you could pick a color palette with green, purples, and pinks, and that would work, or blue, purple, pink. Blue, purple, and red would work. So the next to each other, that's called analogous. Contrasting is opposite sides of your color wheel. And then you could pick out a green and a red with a yellow, and I think that is what they call a Y. That's a Y combination. So there's a few specific names they have for how you can mix it, but I thought that might be informative for those of you who are still beginners and wanting to learn more of your color theory. That's some of what I've learned so far. And also it helps to know your color wheel, because if you are wanting to do a background and you're not sure what color to use, you can pull out your color wheel and you can look and say, okay, well, I've used, well, if you look at this circle down here, we used blue, yellowy, and browns, which browns are more your tertiary colors. We've used some blacks, which is more of a neutral color. I've used some blues. So my analogous here would be the orange. So I picked out the orange, and that's why it works, because it's next to the yellow and it's contrasting with the blue. And then here, if you look on this one, we had the muted blue and browns with some greens, and it contrasts, the green background contrasted with the pink headphones, because they're almost opposite each other. Actually, they are opposite each other. So that's how your color wheel can actually be helpful to you when picking out backgrounds. Okay, so let's get back to our caravan. I thought that might just be a fun little piece of information for you. So I'm just lightly shading with my PC 1063 to build my layers for my muted blue. Then I go back in with PC 1024. PC 1063. And if you just go along the lines of each of these sections of the caravan, you can create a bit of a gradient going up. And your bottom bit here is going to be a lot more shadowed than the top, because it's furthest from the sun. And then back over it with PC 1024. I'm actually looking forward to warmer weather so we can take the caravan and go out for the weekend. We've got a folding caravan and we actually really enjoy just a change of scenery and just playing games as a family, doing some fun things, you know, different things. I think my favorite part is sitting outside with the barbecue. In South Africa we call it a braai, and good drink, like, I don't know, maybe a whiskey or a Coke. So my husband will normally have a beer, and we just sit and we chat to the boys, we get our barbecue going, and just, I don't know, there's something special about being outside and eating and preparing your food over a bit of coal. Back in with PC 1024. So the reason I'm using blue slate for my layers more than the denim blue is because it's less vibrant. The denim blue is a much stronger, darker shade of blue, and it's not going to work to give me that more muted blue color. PC 1063. PC 1059. I'm going to very lightly use PC 1101. I don't want this to be my dominating shade of blue, but I do want to use it to just deepen where my shadows are. Back over it with PC 1063. PC 1024. And then white. PC 935. PC 1063. PC 1058. PC 1059, PC 1063, PC 1058, PC 1059. Okay, then we're going to use very light blue here. PC 1059, PC 1058, PC 1059, PC 1058, PC 1059, PC 1058, then we'll give them a yellow curtain. So we're going to use PC 942 yellow ochre, PC 1002. Excuse the noise, it's just the family moving upstairs. PC 915 lemon yellow, PC 1002, all right, that's the Caravan done. Now we're going to create a white car, so let's do the wheels. PC 1058, PC 1059, PC 1059, PC 1058, just very minimal. PC 1063, and then we want to use PC 938. PC 995 Mulberry, PC 931, PC 941, PC 946, PC 938, PC 935, PC 942, okay, let's move on to the little bag at the top. Okay, let's use Kelly Green PC 1096. Followed with Moss Green PC 1097. PC 1059, 10% cool grey, just to blend it. PC 1063 for the buckle. PC 935, just on the edges. PC 1059. All right. PC 1024 blue slate. And just inside the windows. Then a bit of Sakura Jelly Roll or a white Uniball Signo pen, and you're just going to take it over the black dashes to show that it's glass. And that is the car and caravan. Now we're going to take some light umber and we're going to start creating a bit of a road. PC1005, and you want to really make sure you're going in little circles. As I mentioned, we're going to create a bit of a bush around here. PC 1096 Kelly Green. And you want to not go in with the Kelly Green over all of the lime peel. You want to basically be building up the shadows. So you're really more squiggling around. PC 909, and again very similar, you're just squiggling along so that you're creating that impression of leaves. Let's add in a bit of lemon yellow, PC 915. Back over it with PC 1005 lime peel. And again, that squiggly motion. PC 1096 Kelly Green. PC 946 dark brown. PC 941 light umber, PC 1085, which is the peach beige, and then we're going to, up here by the this van, we're going to do a similar thing with the ground. So you can start with your peach beige, and PC 1012 jasmine, and this is how we can start building up our background. Peach beige again. Now you can darken this up as much as you like, or you can leave it light. It entirely depends on how deep a background you are going for. I'm probably not going to spend too long building it up, just because I want to create a cohesiveness over the page, and to build it up too much would mean that my background could easily detract from the rest of my page. So what I'm wanting to do is just really create a background that ties everything together. I'm going back in with Jasmine, PC 1012. And I'm holding my pencil quite at the back so that I'm not applying too much pressure, and I'm still trying to create a blend. Next, I'm going in with light umber. Again, I'm holding my pencil right at the back and trying to go in a bit of a circular motion. Then I'll come in with some dark brown, PC 946. And then I'll go over again with PC 1085 Peach Beige to just try and blend this up a bit more. And I think leaving a bit of the tooth of the paper showing will add to that old gravelly kind of feel, at least on the picture for the road, but it will also cause a bit of a crinkled look, which kind of goes with that whole map. Now, if you wanted to, you could blend it into blue and show at the top here and show that the plane is in the sky. But I'm not going to be able to balance that out too well, so I'm just going to carry on and do the background for this entire page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom you out a bit more so that you can see more of the single page. So if I leave you sort of like that, and then I will, I'm going to speed up the background just for time's sake, and we will finish this page and then we'll move on to finishing the next page. Okay, so I'm going to alternate between jasmine, peach beige, and ginger root, and I'm going to place them in different areas a bit randomly. I'll go back in with light umber and I will deepen up areas with dark brown. And that's basically the only pencils I'm going to use for this background. And I will see you in a bit. Okay, there we have the background on the side of the page, and now we're just going to do the bubbles and the fish quickly, and then one page is complete. So using PC 1002, PC 935, we'll give it black stripes instead of white. PC 942, PC 935, PC 1002, PC 942, PC 931, and then go over it with PC 1002. Unfortunately, I ran out of space on my camera, so I ended up finishing the bubbles and the snowflakes, stars, and small spots around the circles with a small paint pen. You can also use glittered pens for that. Thankfully, we have now completed one page of this double page spread. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.